Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be going over the Tyrael's. Every time I do that unique items thing, it feels funny right here in my voice, so I laugh about it. The Tyrael's Might is a absolutely insane mythic unique, and we're going to be going over that today. We're going to be talking about it. It is basically one of the tankiest plates in the game, bar none. And if you want to keep your character alive, honestly, Tyrael's is the freaking way to do it. Tyrael's Might is not the same as the Tyrael's Might that you knew from Diablo 2. In fact, I would actually, if you're a Diablo 2 fan, I would actually akin this to the Guardian Angel Templar code. If you're familiar with the Guardian Angel Templar code in Diablo 2, which is absolutely amazing because Guardian Angel Templar code gave you a maximum bonus to your resistances, and then also, gave you other things like increased block chance, faster blocking, things like that, which was definitely really freaking OP. And Tyrael's in this game seems to be more akin to an amazing, like beefed up version of the Guardian Angel Templar code. Which, obviously similar there. We get Guardian Angel, Tyrael's an angel, right? So I guess it's kind of similar. Now, the Tyrael's Might in Diablo 4 has been changed into a mythic now. It is no longer an uber, it is a mythic. And the mythic has its own special drop color, as you can see now. They've given it a special name and a drop color. I'm not particularly fond of the mythic name, but I do actually really appreciate them giving it a different color, which has helped out tremendously in separating them from the other uniques. On top of this, the Tyrael's Might also has undergone some changes from the last version that we had access to. So they added on to the ignore durability loss, and the ignore durability loss is really interesting. It doesn't affect just this armor. It affects everything. So if you are wearing Tyrael's on any character and you die, you do not lose durability on any piece of equipment that you are currently wearing, which makes for a very, very nice effect if you're trying to, say, like, kill Uber Lilith or something, and you're going in there and dying over and over again trying to learn her mechanics. Well, it's not going to cost you any money to repair because you will have this armor on to prevent the durability loss. They did put that in the passive category, so it's not one of the ones that gets the greater affix on it. And they also did that to the greater grandfather as well, which helps prevent the greater affixes from rolling on the ignore durability. I did, however, get a amazing greater affix roll on my movement speed, so now it's 29.7% with 8 master workings. As you can see, I'm up to 9.8% maximum all resistances, and I also have 78 all res on the item itself. I did, however, it does have 20% damage reduction now, flat, like with the base version and no master working, which is amazing. And I rolled the 25% bonus on it twice. That's why it's yellow. So if you roll the 25% bonus on something, it gets blue. And then if you roll a 25% bonus on something again, it goes from blue to yellow. And then if you roll it a third time, I believe it turns orange, if I remember correctly. And so you can basically get all 3 masterworks on one thing. And as you can see, I have a massive 36% damage reduction with this armor right now. The other thing that Tyrael's does is it has a special effect, which is while at full life, your skills unleash a divine barrage, dealing 5,213 damage. Now, basically, all this is just that every time you attack while you're at full health, you just get kind of like an artillery shrine effect. And it doesn't do like a massive amount of damage. It's not something that you really are going to rely on to kill things, maybe like some little Lobi stuff. But it is additional damage that's going to be added into your character. As you can see, when I attack normally, that's what that looks like. However, when I attack with Tyrael's, now I have artillery shrines coming out, which is kind of cool. Now, on top of this, we also have the flavor text, which is thus Tyrael, a perfect aspect of justice, came to be. None were more vehement against the forces of hell. All demonic entities learned to shudder at justice's might. The Books of Jarl, Volume 1. So this is basically Tyrael's armor, right? Now, the thing about this armor, which is really freaking crazy, is that it was already really good before, and while it wasn't necessarily best in slot when they first introduced it on every single character for the tankiest plate in the freaking world, It is now. I don't really think there's a whole lot of armors out there that can compete with Tyrael's ridiculousness. There's probably only a handful of armors that you would put in place of this at this point. One of them is Ursine's Strength, which is actually really, or sorry, the Insatiable Fury armor. If you have an absolutely ridiculous Insatiable Fury armor, like something like this that has like 6% to the Ursine Strength bonuses, maybe like 6 to Iron Fur, with like a bonus like greater affix on the maximum life, Insatiable Fury might be able to compete with Tyrael's Might. And there are a couple armors that can still compete depending on very specific circumstances. I think a nearly perfect Soul Brand could also compete now with some of the bonuses that it has because it does give a massive amount of damage reduction at this point. Soul Brand has and I don't have one on me right now. But Soul Brand now has a bonus damage reduction while while healthy. And with a greater affix roll, it can go upwards of like 18%. And it also has an additional 30% damage reduction on it for having a barrier active, which is 48% damage reduction total. So not quite as good as the 30% flat, because of course, two bonuses added together don't necessarily equal like a 48%, for instance, but it definitely still is pretty strong. The new Soul Brand can definitely be interesting for barrier builds. But that being said, that there are some that can potentially compete with the item, for the majority of the player base, there is very little that is going to be better than Tyrael's. So when you get your hands on Tyrael's, and not only that, but you can wear it at level 35, which is just ridiculous. So at level 35, you're going to have 78% all res, and you're going to have 9.8% maximum resistances with some pretty decent movement speed and some damage reduction, and you throw this on pretty much any character. Now, I do have one complaint about Tyrael's. It is gotta be the most superficial complaint that there is, and let me take you guys over to the wardrobe. So this is a cosmetic complaint, and it really kind of bugged me when I first got it because I like the way that Tyrael's looks. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the graphic of Tyrael's. So let's go ahead and remove this so we can pull Tyrael's up. The graphic of Tyrael's is really quite interesting, and depending on the character you put it on, like the rogue gets this like this little dress thing here, which is kind of neat. Some of the characters just really can't match up the color of their equipment with this. So like, let me just put like a random helmet on, and let me just like try and match this up. So blue, see, like, no, that's like nowhere near close to the color blue of the armor. Red, that's not anywhere near close. Obviously, brown, green, like none of these match with Tyrael's, which is like part of the issue. So there's no, like, you can't match up other pieces of equipment with Tyrael's. It doesn't work. And like, I understand, I think what they were going with is they were trying to make a very unique and very interesting armor with a very interesting color, but like it's really difficult to find anything that matches it color-wise that doesn't look really weird. Like even the blue colors that you might have, like they're not the same blue. Like you try and dye them blue and they're not the same blue. Like it seems to be almost like a blue purple color. Purple doesn't match either. And so forth and so on. And on some of the characters, and this is probably my biggest complaint, is that some of the characters, it really looks like it just kind of doesn't fit. And if we take it over, I think the Druid is one of the worst, is that it just kind of looks like, I don't really know how to put it, it just kind of looks like an armor with like nothing else. Like it kind of looks like you're just wearing this breastplate, and it doesn't really have like any, and it doesn't fit with anything that you have on your character. It's such a small complaint to make, and maybe it's just something that we can eventually get in the future is a broader color palette, perhaps, so that we maybe even have an option so that it looks, you know, a color palette option which is the same color as Tyrael's. So, you know, we can like sync up the colors, or maybe even just like a gold so we can like match the trim. That would be kind of interesting. But in the case of the druid, as you can see, the druid doesn't even get the tassets. Like there's no tassets hanging down, right? And so this means that he has to match pants for this as well, something that like matches Tyrael's. And there's really not a lot that matches Tyrael's in, like I said, in color or even in the theme. Like you can get somewhat close, but it's just really disappointing to have an armor like this, like an amazing freaking plate with an amazing graphic that you want to show off, and then like you guys know what I mean. Like it just doesn't really feel like any of the other pieces really kind of like mix with it, unless you want to wear some just like some funky pants. Let's just do the funky pants. Totally matches, right? Just full chainmail upper body with just some like leather pants on. That's exactly what we want, right? Like I said, minor quip about the armor, but it definitely is a extremely powerful armor that pretty much everybody's going to want to get their hands on in the new seasons. I honestly was torn between getting this and potentially an Andariel's, but then I ended up getting an Andariel's, so now I have this, and I'm going to be able to use this on all my characters. I also already have the Ring of Starless, guys. I know, I'm freaking loaded. You guys, don't look at me. I'm horrific. I'm a horrific rich man. I got all the doojanks. I got all the toys now. I got the Melted Heart, the Varion, the Andariels, the Harlequin. But then again, sorry. Again, I want to make these videos for you guys. So I've been pushing really hard to get as many of these unique items as I can to make these videos. So I hope you guys appreciate it. If you do appreciate it, be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And as always, keep watching.